All right, everybody. Hey, welcome. I'm Charles E. Smith Jr., and this is another edition of From the Arena alongside my homeboy, the pride of Hofstra University, the pride of ESPN 710 Los Angeles, none other than the almost immortal Dave Joseph.
Wow. I think we should probably just end the interview now that you said that, because I don't know if I can live up to that.
Yeah, exactly. You got nowhere to go but down.
Nowhere to go but down from there, that's for sure. But thank you for that, Charles.
Hey,
appreciate
fantastic. So, you know what? We're talking about the LA Kings. We're here at Staples Center. The broadcast is live. That is the, do they still call it a Jumbotron, the big giant video board?
Yeah,
octagon
Panasonic something or other, 4D,
yeah.
LTE.
Yeah, that's state-of-the-art picture board.
It's pretty big.
It is.
And it weighs a lot.
And you know what? The Kings, tonight, I believe this was 4 wins in a row.
It was.
If my math is correct, it's 4 wins in a row here on St. Patrick's Day, which is why I'm in green tonight.
Green shirt, like
and
it.
You had to outdress me. So
don't have anything green.
No, you don't.
Yeah, nothing.
Well, hey, you know what? What I like, though, Kopitar opens the scoring, and I know you were at the game last night, I believe, in Anaheim, and it was the same thing. A beautiful, beautiful pinpoint shot. And, you know, there's one thing that the grandmothers of Jonas Hiller and Pekka Rinne are going to have to do.
What's that?
They're going to have to go shopping for cookie jars because he broke both of them, baby. He broke both of them.
Did you see the torque in his stick when he ripped those wrist shots? I mean, just absolute torque in that stick. He ripped it going high glove. I believe it was both nights. Last night he beat Hiller high glove. Tonight, same thing. I mean, he's putting something into that wrist shot. It's unreal.
And has there been a fire lit under Kopitar? I mean, maybe it's this the height of this playoff race, which sees us with we have 5 teams separated by 3 points.
3 points, yeah.
And 2 playoff spots available.
And that's not good. For a couple of teams, that's not good.
Yeah,
a few
that's
teams.
True. Yeah.
And the Red Wings win tonight. Or the Sharks win tonight. They beat the Red Wings. Kings win tonight. And Colorado wins earlier today. They beat the Rangers. So Colorado leapfrogs everybody. Right. And then you've got the Kings and the Sharks battling it out. And you got Calgary that's right behind them.
Calgary, they recently won 4 in a row.
Right.
Before they lost to Edmonton last night.
Right, right.
And, you know, you think about this, the Phoenix Coyotes, they could have really distanced themselves from everybody. In the month of February, they went 11-0-1.
That's unbelievable.
23 of a possible 24 points. Then what happens? They get to the month of March. Whew, wipe the brow a little bit. They lose 5 in a row.
That's going to happen.
They've only won 2 of their last 9 games.
And that's not good.
And that puts them in the thick of it. They were in a point, if they had even played 500 hockey.
Yeah.
That's all. And to me, 500 hockey is not a lot to ask of your team.
No, no.
If a coach came in and said, we just want to play 500 hockey, I don't think he'd get any objections. Not in the negative. I mean in the...
Right.
Not saying we want to go below that.
Right.
He might get fired for saying that.
He might, yeah.
It wouldn't be just.
I think you want to set the bar a little higher.
Yeah, I would think so.
Right.
And you know, one thing is the Carter effect. What I call the Carter effect.
Right.
That is, since Jeff Carter got here. Now, remember, they were the lowest scoring team in the league, averaging right around or just under 2 goals a game.
2 goals a game.
Since he's gotten here, we're talking about 11 games, 37 goals they've scored now.
Outscoring
over 3 goals a game.
Outscoring their opponents 37-23 in the last 11 games.
Is that fantastic or what? Now, you know what? I had to talk to one of the veteran Kings. That's Anze Kopitar, who, by the way, now for the 6th straight season, he has at least 20 goals. He scored tonight. I talked to him about the Carter effect. That's what I like to call it.
The Carter effect.
The Carter effect, yes. The effect Carter has had on the team.
Not Jimmy Carter.
No, no. Nothing about peanuts or peanut butter here. But here's Kopi, very short, but listen to what Kopi has to say here. Opened up a little bit about the Carter effect since he's been here.
I mean, he's I think in everybody's eyes, he's a little more of a scorer than he is a playmaker. And you know, before he came in, we definitely needed there, and he's come in, gave us a little spark. He scored some big goals for us, and you know, that's what we need him to do the rest of the way.
All right, everybody, and we're back. So there you see Kopi. He's saying that, you know, Carter was brought in, and he was seen more as a scorer than a playmaker, and really he had 5 goals, 2 assists. But Carter, we saw tonight, though, some beautiful play in the neutral zone. When he comes up behind, strips Jordan Tutu, makes the feed over to King, sends him in, for just a beautiful goal, and Carter just showing his versatility. Not to say that Andre had misjudgment anyway, but I like Carter showing that he has a lot more facets to his game than just the scoring. It's those things that you do away from the puck that make you a great hockey player.
Well, not only that, and certainly they brought in Carter to be a scorer. He scored 40 goals in this league, and how many guys can say that, right? And many 30-goal seasons over his career, young career. I think what Carter does for this team is it adds that depth. You had players that were playing in roles maybe they shouldn't have been playing in. Do you want Jared Stoll playing on your second line? Probably not. He's more of a third-line center. That bumps Jared Stoll back down to the third line. Carter steps up to the second line to play with Richards. It just adds more depth all the way around. Not to mention the power play. It adds another dimension on the power play unit where you can split up he and Dustin Brown, Mike Richards playing some on the point. It just adds another element offensively to this Kings team.
Exactly, and as Coach Sutter said too, it reaches a point where you have a lot of guys just really kind of competing for power play time. Because as you know, we're both hockey players, not to toot our own horns or beat our own drums or anything like that. Toot toot. But anyways, it's fun playing on the power play.
It is.
It is. That is when it's fun. There's not a lot of risk involved, and it's just fun to get the puck, possess it, move the puck around, and it's your time out there. And that's your time to shine, really, is on the power play. That's party time.
It is. And when you're Jeff Carter, I mean, that's what he's known for. You can set him up on the power play. He's going to score a bunch of power play goals, especially having him out there with a guy like Richards. Those two are developing that chemistry that they had in Philadelphia together. That's nice to see. So, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about the power play. See, and again, it lends a different dimension because you can put a Kopitar out there with Brown and Williams. They've been playing together, but put those guys you can kind of mix and match on the power play. It's just another element you can add to kind of strengthen up that man advantage.
Definitely. And then the other thing is that Carter can kill penalties also.
He can.
Remember, he is extremely fast for a guy his size. He would be fast for a little guy.
Right.
But he's really extraordinarily fast for a big
6'3",
guy.
6'4". I mean, he's a big dude.
That's a large human being.
Yeah.
Definitely. But, the Kings, now they've got this stretch coming up, and 10 games left in the season.
Oh, boy, here we go.
3 of those games are against San Jose.
Yikes.
And I believe the first of those is this week.
Tuesday night.
That's here, is it not?
It is here. This was the first of 4 straight at home for the Kings.
Definitely, I will be here.
You've got the Bruins coming in on next Saturday night, the Stanley Cup champion Bruins. So that's always going to be a test. Eastern Conference opponent, which I'm not really a big fan of at this time of the year. You'd like to see him play Western Conference teams, but hey, it's going to be another test with the Bruins coming to town. Another thing you got to think about here tonight. You mentioned Kopitar goals in 3 straight games. He's got 23 to lead the team. How about the contributions tonight from some of the third and fourth line players? Trevor Lewis stepping up, goal and an assist. Dustin Penner scoring. Kyle Clifford scoring. Those two, Penner and Clifford, hadn't scored since February 7th at Tampa Bay. After I talked to Penner in the locker room tonight, and Penner said he and Clifford roomed together. He said, yeah, they discussed that before the game. They were both going to score tonight since they hadn't scored since February 7th.
Oh, okay. I see.
They set that up in advance.
They're playing a little bit of Xbox.
Yeah, exactly right.
And discovered they had skills they didn't even know were there. Because those skills are all in Xbox.
Hey, listen. You can have 5 goals on the season. If you're going to score in crunch time, Kings will take it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's some hearty applause from this crowd tonight after he scored that goal.
It was. You know what? Yes, it was. It was hearty.
It's been a long time coming.
Build up.
It's been a long time coming.
But yes, it built to that.
The fans have been waiting, I think, to applaud Dustin Penner, which is great to see. But also, Dwight King pitched in tonight. He had another goal. He's got, I think, 6 points in the last 7 games or something like that. Nolan tonight, chipping in as well. You got all these guys who are now stepping up, and I think that's part of what you were talking about with the Carter effect, is that these other guys can kind of find their way. You've got King playing with Carter and Richards.
Right.
So with those guys all playing together, it just opens up all these different avenues that the Kings didn't have before because they didn't have that depth.
Right, exactly. If we ever, and I don't want to speculate, but if it was possible that Simon Gagne came back this season, that would just, if he were to come back healthy, that would just add even more of a dimension and maybe get the Kings back into that. We'll call it that conversation that was going on prior to when the season started. But now with Carter here, he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's added the dimensions, I think, really, which is what they're hoping to get from Gagne when they got him before he got the concussion.
Absolutely,
he was still all right. And then now they've got that dimension. It looks like the blue line. What do you think? It's going to be okay? Voinov? I get the idea that Daryl Sutter really, he's a defense-first guy, as we know.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Much like Terry Murray.
Well, he's more defense first, second, third, and then
Fourth?
Yeah, and then,
Right.
then some offense somewhere along the way.
If I try to find a couple of goals in there. Yeah.
Right, but he talked about Voinov, and he's really not, he says, okay, he's got the offensive skills. He knows that.
Right.
But his concern with Voinov is the play, in his own end and defensively and doing the things, because when it comes down to crunch time and playing the better teams, which is what you have to do in the playoffs, you don't get any scrubs to beat up on. And in the playoffs, you play a team, and it's a best of 7, which means that any tendencies you may have, you don't get to just play that team and then go on to the next one the next night. They're going to find out what you like, don't like. They're going to expose it, exploit it. They're going to get inside your head, and is Voinov ready to get to that level? And I think that's where Sutter's concern is. So he can score goals if he wants, but it's one of those things where you got to be that rock mentally, defensively, if you're going to get somewhere.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think what we've seen from Voinov recently, not only has he been putting up points, but I think he's getting better in the defensive zone. Keep in mind, he's a young guy. He's the youngest of the Kings defensemen right now, so I think it's going to take time for him to kind of mature and to find his way in that role, but I think he has been playing a lot better. But he also contributes offensively, which when you look at the Kings' back line, you've got a lot of guys who are defensive-minded. Green, Scuderi, Mitchell, those are guys who are defensive-minded. Then you turn to your offensive-minded guys, Doughty, Martinez, Voinov. You kind of have a good mix there. So as long as Sutter can kind of keep teaching Voinov to be responsible in his own defensive end, I think the Kings are going to be all right. As you said, playoff time, that's crunch time. That's when it all really matters. I think that it's going to come down to what you said about teams exploiting him. They're going to go after him. But I think pairing him with Willie Mitchell really helps, too, because Mitchell's that defensive stalwart, and I think you need that in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the other thing that Kyle Clifford, tonight, did you see that move?
I did see that move.
I didn't
Those
know
are some sweet mitts he showed there. Silky smooth mitts.
Where did that even come? Was he playing Xbox too?
I'm not sure what he was doing, but
is that the Bernie Nichols effect? Maybe
it could be the Bernie Nichols effect. What is it? Since they brought on Bernie Nichols, has this team not been on an offensive tear? It may be coincidence. It may not be, because we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We don't know what goes on at every single practice. But they are scoring a lot more goals.
They've added. Nichols has come into the fold in whatever that nondescript job title he may or may not have
role, right?
Is he not on the payroll? I don't really know.
Not sure.
Yeah, could not be. Maybe.
Daryl
I don't know.
Brought him in to help out.
He's just kind of hanging around.
Or as we say in Canada,
in a three-piece suit,
help
though.
out. Yeah. No, Bernie looks. I think Bernie could still strap him on. To be honest with you,
I think so. And Carter coming in doing what he does, and I think and I hate to hammer the point. I know it's a dead horse, but with Jack Johnson being gone, and I said the problem I really thought it was with Jack Johnson was not, and his horrible plus minus was simply with him on the ice, the Kings had trouble getting into their offense. That was the problem with him. And now you see that he's gone. Voinov, who's really inexperienced. Let's go ahead and call him that.
Well, sure, right.
Inexperienced. But still, it has not really been detrimental to the team having Voinov back there taking the minutes that Johnson had.
You haven't noticed much of a void, have you, with Voinov in the lineup? I think a lot of that is...
Voinov, not Voidnov.
Not Voinov, no.
That was bad. I apologize.
Yeah, he came up with that.
I apologize.
We got to work with our writers.
No, I was cued by Jimmy Bramlett, who's waiting there in the green room.
Oh, I see. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he said Voinov. I just said it. Yeah.
I got you. Well,
he held up a sign, too.
We got to brush up on our writers, I think.
We do,
Maybe hire some new... No, I think getting back to that, I think that part of that is what you said about Johnson. A lot of it was trying to be too fancy, trying to make the perfect play, doing the head and shoulders fake like he always used to do, which it works sometimes, but not all the time. Other teams picked up on that.
Right.
Voinov seems to keep it simple. He gets pucks to the net. He makes an easy pass out of his zone. The first pass out of your zone, as you know, playing defense, is the key, right? It's how you start the breakout. The first pass is the key. If you can connect on that first pass, chances are you're going to have a good, solid breakout. A lot of times Jack struggled with that. Maybe he tried to take it himself and work his way up the ice, do a little Bobby Orr coming up. Voinov doesn't do that. He makes a simple play. Kings get out of the zone.
And the other thing is about that first pass, if the forwards, they're forechecking, and one thing is with forwards is they do smell blood. They're like sharks. Not necessarily San Jose Sharks, because they've only won twice in their last 10 games. But when you're a defenseman, if that first, especially early in the game, if your first couple of breakouts are a little bit shaky, they're going to be on your butt all game long.
You are going to get hammered the rest of the game.
And whether or not they even get the puck, they're just going to really annoy you.
And send a message and say, we're going to hit you all night, and we're going to keep coming.
Exactly. So I'll tell you what, Dave, Jimmy Bramlett is waiting in the wings.
I know him. Great guy, that Jimmy.
It's always a pleasure. If you would, in the wake of the Stanley Cup champions coming here, we could do this again if you're down for it.
I'm always down for it.
All right.
To talk to Charles?
Yeah.
I'm here anytime you need me.
That's how we're both defensemen. We got to get on the same ice one of these days.
Got to stick together.
All right, perfect. So, you know what? Before you go, though, I'm going to put your panel up there that has everything on it. Tell them all about DJ in a nutshell.
Well, you can hear me mornings on 710 ESPN in Los Angeles from 5 to 10 a.m. That would be mornings, 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. for those of you scoring at home.
Yes.
I do the morning sports updates for 710 ESPN Radio. I'm on during Mike and Mike in the morning and Colin Cowherd. You can follow me on Twitter at DaveJosephLA. You can do that. We always encourage followers on Twitter. I update the Kings all the time.
And you know what? I have to say that it's much better following him on Twitter than me on Twitter because you're much more narcissistic than I am, so you put out many more tweets than I do because you think everything you have to say is
It's important.
It is, yeah.
It's absolutely important, and people should really care about that. So at Dave Joseph LA, that's where you want to find me. And if you're out of town, you're not in LA, and you want to hear me on the radio, weekday mornings, Monday through Friday, 5 to 10, you can listen. Log on to ESPNLA.com. And click the Listen Live link, and you can hear me there.
So we'll just have to translate whether it's because you're on at 5
Pacific
time. So if I'm in New York,
you're going to help me out here. I'm not good at math.
8 o'clock.
I think that's 8 o'clock, right? And then if you're in Chicago, it would be 7.
Yeah.
And then Mountain Time, I get confused because do they do this daylight savings time thing? Or is that just Arizona? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, well, Arizona doesn't do it. But they should.
So if you're in Arizona, I'm not sure what time I'm on, but you can find me at some point.
So if you're in Arizona without a green card, then
I'm not even going to touch that.
Yeah, okay. All right. Hey, everybody. We'll be right back in just a moment with Mr. Jimmy Bramlett. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this. Hey, everybody, and we're back live here at Staples Center and just about to introduce my very special guest, Mr. Jimmy Bramlett of LAist.com, because they are the LAist in LA. You can follow Jimmy on Twitter at Jimmy Bramlett. Yes, he did stay up all night long thinking of that Twitter handle of his. Here he is, everybody, the main man, Jimmy Bramlett.
Well, hello there. Wow, I look tall. Okay.
You do look tall. Yeah, scrunch down a little bit there.
Down.
Hey, look, here comes one of the Kings' worthy assistants here, handing us post-game notes. Jennifer, would you like to put your head into the camera here? Huh? Have everybody say hello? Okay. Jennifer, a long last name. Nechapurenko.
N, as in Nancy.
She was the last kid in class to learn how to write their name, she told me about. In fact, they had to give her a pass in kindergarten because she couldn't write her name, but Nechapurenko, that's a polysyllabic word. You couldn't expect her to write that.
I'm amazed you know the word polysyllabic, but we'll move on.
It's in the third version of Hooked on Phonics. That's where I got it from.
Is that the same place you learned Voidnov?
No, I learned that from you.
Oh, dear.
You held up that sign.
You know, don't go blaming your bad jokes on me, okay?
All right, let's get to the game here.
Yes,
the LA Kings.
Yes.
The LA Kings, they took down the Nashville Predators tonight 4-2. And, you know, kind of uncharacteristically of the Predators, I saw kind of a lot of breakdowns there. I mean, a lot of 2-on-1s. Even Kopitar scored that first goal, and then not a minute later when he completed that line change, he goes in again and has another chance once Brownie and Williams get out there. So Kopitar was on, and then you have the Dustin Penner involved in two 2-on-1s in one game.
2 2-on-1s, and I think that's the key there. 2-2 was just I mean, he made just in that third period
You're talking about Trevor Lewis, yeah.
Well, Trevor Lewis, his line mate.
2-2, yes, okay. Right.
Well, and then Jordan 2-2 from the Predators, who just had
and
just
Jordan
these breakdowns.
2-2, I'll tell you this. Jordan 2-2 wears number 22, and he was born on February 2nd. That is actually true. You can look that up.
Yes, and Tutu is his real last name, by the way. So it's not a facade. It's not a Chad Ochocinco type thing.
2-2, I think, was his minus rating tonight too. But anyways,
that's neither here
nor
nor
there.
there.
Did you get a chance to, when you were down there? Did you get a chance to talk to any of Nashville or Coach Barry Trotz?
No, I wasn't able to, unfortunately. But here we have him saying that. No, he said that that the Kings had security. You know, they threw it up on the front side rim, and it bounced over Kostitsyn's sick, and they executed on it. Basically, he didn't want to throw his players under the bus because clearly in that third period they fell asleep. They had control of the game.
Yeah.
The Kings looked gassed in that second period. After that 4-2 win in Anaheim last night, everyone just thought that, oops, it's done. It was only a matter of time before Nashville scored the game winner.
Yeah, and that 1-1, that precarious 1-1 game, it was really starting to wear on me up here as I was watching too. But you know, when you talk about that game in Anaheim last night, now you know some of us members of the media, and I gotta say I love my fellow media peeps, as do you, as do we all. We're all kind of a fraternity.
Really. No.
Well, it's like a family, you know, that family Thanksgiving dinner where you all sit at the same table, eat the same turkey and stuffing and everything, but, you know, you don't really, there's that person and that person and that person. It's just kind of odd. That's what it's like up here. How about that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, something happened last night, and that is now Matt Green, who doesn't score a whole lot of points. I think he's got 9 points on the season now. Defenseman Matt Green, but he had 2 assists last night. And so, you know, media, we sometimes blow things out of proportion. Here's what happened. One of the media members actually called Matt Green unstoppable. And we're going to see,
oh dear.
I've got Justin Williams' priceless reaction right here.
Matt Green's unstoppable?
2 assists.
I like that. Well, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I think it has to do with turnovers in our neutral zone as well. We're creating a lot off our neutral zone. Our defensemen are standing up. They're getting more involved in the offense, and it doesn't matter who you are. If you're Drew Doughty, Matt Green, you know, it doesn't matter if you're going to get involved. You're going to get opportunities, and Matt's been getting a lot of shots to the net for us.
There you go, and that's Justin Williams on the unstoppable Matt Green. I'm sure Matt Green really had some fun with that too, but some of us get a little overzealous every now and then. They're not calm, cool, and collected like me and Jimmy, who we just keep it on an even keel.
Just hanging right through.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is 4 wins in a row now for the Kings.
It's over. They're going to win the Stanley Cup.
4 wins in a row. They are one of 5 teams, like I said, within 3 points of one another for 2 playoff spots.
Yes.
Were you a math major?
No, I was an electrical engineering major for a year.
Okay.
So I can do math.
Okay, all right. That's what attributes your shocking personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Electrical engineering?
Yes.
Shocking personality? I'm sorry. Let's go.
I'm looking over there for a reason, because there is nothing over there, just like that joke was.
All right. Well, let's get back to it.
Yes.
Back to the Kings.
Yes.
Back to the Kings and what they do here on the ice. And I talked with Dave when he was here, Dave Joseph, talking about the Carter effect. And that is, you know, since he's been here, 11 games, Kings have scored 37 goals. Before that, they were averaging barely, just under 2 goals a game. Now yes. Carter's here, they're over 3 goals a game.
They look like a respectable hockey team. Before, they were pathetic. No, it's really amazing what has happened. I think part of that, not only is it Jeff Carter being here, they're feeling that sense of urgency down there in the locker room. Several of them told me tonight that, you know, this is what they're playing for, you know, that playoff spot, and it's even more frenetic now this season because they're on the outside looking in, and they're fighting with several other teams for that those coveted and rare playoff spots as it is.
Yeah, that 7th and 8th spot. And maybe, well, Chicago's got a little bit of a cushion, but who knows, if they fall a little bit, they'll be back into that pack of those. The 5 will become 6 teams fighting for 3 spots instead of 5 teams fighting for 2 spots, which is that better or worse?
I got confused.
So did I.
But basically, what I've noticed this season in the NHL is just the streakiness of these teams. You mentioned with Dave Joseph of ESPN LA, you guys mentioned Phoenix. They were on that tear February. Come March, just down the drain. But Chicago, when they recently visited here, they were going through that really bad stretch.
Really? Yeah, kind of topsy-turvy.
Yes. Boston Bruins, who will be here on Tuesday, they've been very... No, next Saturday. That's right. San Jose is Tuesday.
Yeah, and you'll be back as a guest on Saturday, I believe. We haven't inked it yet, but it's penciled in.
Okay, so I better not mess this up then.
Right, yes.
Okay.
I think you'll be back.
Yes.
Depending on what you do in the next 2 minutes, you'll be back next week.
Or over the next week. Lord knows.
Right, yeah, try to stay off the police blotter this time. Okay? Because,
it's so hard.
Yeah,
it's so difficult. It's St. Patrick's Day.
Irish car bombs.
No comment.
Okay.
No comment. I'm behaving myself because I do want to be here next week.
All right, perfect. So, we're going to go ahead and get everything wrapped up here now. Mr. Bramlett, LA-ist. Talk to the fans here. What is LA-ist? What you do there, and why are you the LA-ist of all of the LA?
Well, first of all, we're the best at what we do, so ain't no one going to be stepping to us. That's all I have to say about that. No, LAist.com, we are the foremost blog about culture, arts, politics, news, anything that goes on in LA, we cover. And I do my little sports niche here. So here I am with the Kings. I have a piece out tomorrow on the Lakers. So just follow me on Twitter. You'll see everything I write on there. And it should.
Do you still do Dodgers?
The Dodgers, yes, I do.
Okay,
that's a whole
spring training.
Spring training, and there's some interesting things going on in there.
But you won't tell us. What you'll do is have them follow you on Twitter, and they can, from there, go to all the interesting things which you have written about on LAist.com.
Oh, yes. Oh, see, you're so good at this. I'm horrible at this.
All right, everybody. Now, before we go, we do have to thank our sponsor here, the puckshopshere.com. Discount hockey gear available online. And, of course, if you mention Inside Sports, type in the promo code Inside Sports at checkout. You get an additional 10% off. And also free shipping on every order over $75. Whether you enter that promo code or not, you get the free shipping, but you may as well enter the promo code and also get that 10%. Does that math add up for you, Mr. Bramlett?
It does add up.
All right, perfect. Now,
and Daddy needs a new pair of skates.
I don't tweet that much, but when I do, it's very interesting. Inside Sports, we're changing the world one sport at a time. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheInsideSports. So, for Mr. Bramlett here, and also for my homeboy, Mr. Joseph, who was on earlier, I'm Charles E. Smith, Jr., and thanks for joining us here. This is an Inside Sports production of From the Arena. We'll be back next week in the wake of the Los Angeles Kings and Boston Bruins, right here live from Staples Center in beautiful downtown Los Angeles. It's St. Patty's Day, and this man has to get out and start drinking responsibly.